Welcome to the channel. This is the right way to do infotainment. Prove me wrong.
What's going on, everyone? Jax here, and today we have the review of the Lexus UX coming at you from my new sort of like talking head setup. And in addition to this great new sort of studio setup that I'm trying to have here, I also have a new intro.
I know what you're thinking. You're not entirely sure why you clicked on this video in the first place. After all, it's about a Lexus hybrid. Not the LFA, not the LC, not even the top-selling RX or the super cool LX. It's about the UX, which until now you probably didn't even know was a thing that existed. Well, it is. So here's the Jax review.
I'll admit, you're not the only one who didn't know this car existed. Neither did I. To be quite honest with you, when I got the press material, I thought it was the Lexus NX, not the Lexus UX. I wasn't even aware that there was another car that slotted beneath the NX. Not that I give a lot of time to thinking about the Lexus SUV hierarchy. I devote as much time to that as I do thinking about what kind of topsoil would best grow my grass, or how I'm stuck in the house for the next 3 weeks thanks to coronavirus. But I mean, it makes sense when you think about it with the expanding premium micro SUV market, which apparently is a thing now. And see, the micro SUV segment is where this sort of tall riding hatchback shines. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I'm not taking a dig at the Lexus UX, but that's basically what it is. It's a tall hatchback.
See, this is a small car, and Hallie didn't have too much trouble fitting in the back seat at just over 5 feet tall. But if you were going to sit behind someone my size, or you were taller than 5 feet, it might be a problem. Cargo space? Well, not really, unless most of your cargo consists of large squishable items like pillows and blankets, or shoe boxes, or items you'd carry in your pocket. But the battery pack takes a toll on cargo space, and the UX is not exactly living up to the U in utility.
And I'm sure at this point, as a car guy, you're thinking, yeah, okay, Jax, I get all of that, but are you trying to tell me that this small Lexus tall hatchback micro SUV thing is impressive? You might be surprised. I mean, no, I'm not really at all. What I'm saying is I had equally low expectations until I drove it, and then I was surprised.
Weirdly, it's only after you're behind the wheel of this little Lexus, which is what I'm gonna call it now because I like that name better than UX, that you really begin to understand who it's aimed at, or what it's for. Also, it is apparently not ever going to stop raining here in Atlanta. I know that many of you have bigger problems than just rain during the winter. What's up, Rocket? But here, it's been pretty much unending. We've had like flood warnings, flood watches, all kinds of flooding problems. But mostly it's just really irritating because some of us want to film car videos and we only have a limited amount of time to do it in because we work 2 other jobs. And this is a hobby that makes money, but it's a hobby nonetheless. I wouldn't mind if the tilting and telescoping wheel went up just a bit higher. This is quite simply one of the best riding cars I've ever driven. And I'm not just saying that, and I'm not just playing into some sort of Lexus stereotype. This car glides down the road with a level of serenity that's difficult to put into words. And it's not mushy and floaty either. It's really comfortable. It absorbs bumps, it gives you cushion, but it doesn't feel underdamped and floppy. In fact, it's sporty-ish in its handling. I mean, this is the F Sport version. It's really impressive. The ride of this car is insanely good. Insanely good. That amazing ride, it doesn't come at the expense of the handling. The UX stays planted, and the steering, in fact, is even appreciably quick. It weights up nicely, it's quick off center, it's sporty. I mean, this steering wheel, this F Sport steering wheel is awesome. It feels great in the hands, it looks nice, it's a substantial kind of wheel. I'm on my handling road right now, and some goats hanging out in the rain, as goats do. And this first part of the road here is terrible. Like, it's just terrible. And the UX is just absorbing it like it's nothing. It's giving you a nice cushion on that first kind of dip. And I mean, the tires, I don't know if part of it is the tires are just so well matched to the suspension, but they're quiet and they're comfortable. Going down this road, we have a lot of uneven bumps on this road, so there's a lot of head toss, and there's not a lot of head toss in the UX. For a car with such a short wheelbase, a relatively small car, this is an exceptional job, Lexus, exceptional job of the ride and the handling balance. There's no such thing as a harsh impact in this car. There really isn't. The all-wheel drive system goes about its business without drawing attention to itself. I was coming off this turn the other day and I had to accelerate quickly. It was predictably wet because that's just our default conditions in Atlanta now. And a car came around that corner going a high rate of speed, probably over the speed limit, not that I can relate, and I had to get up to speed quickly. I put the hammer down in the UX. It's not the fastest car in the world, but it got up and moved, and the all-wheel drive system just sorted out the power like that, and I was off. That car behind me was, I wouldn't say he was gone, but it wasn't exactly like I was pulling out in front of like a Corvette or something. It was like a Honda Civic, but I had no trouble leaving him behind. He probably braked thinking, uh-oh, here comes Grandma on her Lexus. But that's not really the case anymore, is it? The weather radar said no rain. So I was like, well, it's getting late in the day. It's my last day with the UX. I better go out and film in this no rain. Thank you, Weather Channel, AccuWeather, and all the weathermen worldwide for your guessing.
I mean, look, the UX isn't gonna get away from you or anything, but it's not a potato either. At least not a potato that you would drive on the road. That's not really like a potato. Anyway, the CVT is one of the better examples of its kind. I know CVTs aren't the most popular transmissions, but the CVT is one of the better examples of its kind. It even comes with paddle shifters if you want to pretend that you're sporty, instead of like actually doing sports or going to the gym or moving in any way at all. Toyota's proven hybrid system works as well in the UX as it does in anything else. It's practically seamless. You don't even know that it's operating, which I think is frankly amazing. And in the time that I had the UX, I averaged about 41 miles to the gallon in a week of suburban driving. So there's that. So who is this car aimed at? Well, my guess is upwardly mobile millennials who actually have the disposable income to afford the UX's $43,000 as tested price. They probably don't have kids, or if they do, they have babies. And if they have babies, they haven't yet realized what a giant money pit they are, and so they're still spending money on things like small Lexus SUVs. Don't worry, they'll realize soon enough, and then they'll get a Chrysler minivan. Now, I agree, $43,500 is a pretty steep price of entry, but you do get some luxurious features for that price. This particular model came with some choice options, namely the F-Sport package, which to me is a must because it makes the UX look like, better. It also had heated and cooled seats, among other things, and navigation in a 10.3-inch widescreen infotainment display, which to me is a must-have because it's an amazing display. It's very intuitive and user-friendly, and it's also 10.3 inches wide, and it just looks the business at the top of the dash. It also has voice command and a very decent 8-speaker sound system. No, it's not the Mark Levinson one, which is like a 57-speaker sound system that you get if you're like some type of audiophile and you're a concert pianist, or something like that, where you would actually know the difference between an 8-speaker sound system and a 512-speaker sound system with like advanced tweeters, whatever those are. It also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and all the connectivity options that you'd expect.
And the interior is fantastic. Typical Lexus build quality, thoughtful styling touches. The leather is soft, the seats are phenomenal, and the overall layout is very pleasing to the eye. The gauge cluster mimics the LFA and the LC, and it reminds you that Lexus does know how to build sporty and kind of fun and desirable cars. It's super cool, very informative, and the more you play with it, the more you love it. I just wish some of the green and amber lights sprinkled throughout didn't clash with the overall kind of minimalist aesthetic, because the clean white lights and the minimalist design looks really good, but the sort of green and amber lights don't really match very well. Let's talk about that infotainment system for a second. Having the screen placed high and away from you is brilliant. This is the way forward. I really believe that. Having the screen placed high and away from you keeps the driver's eyes as close to the road as possible. The UX's hand controls at the leading edge of the armrest are bloody brilliant. What a thoughtful and simple solution to volume control, tuning, and mode. That's just one of my favorite things. It's so simple and so intuitive, and you can tell what they are just by touch. The 10.3-inch screen is sort of widescreen. It's bright, it's informative, it's crisp, the graphics look good, and you can even do sort of a dual split screen kind of view to add extra information, so you can have your audio and your map on screen at the same time. It's very versatile, very useful. Now, the reason that people keep shitting on these systems is because of the touchpads. And the touchpad in the UX is accurate, but it's just weird. It's got menu button, it's got a map button, it's got a back button, but it's the touchpad itself, it's the feedback that you get from the actual pad that's weird. Automakers, do us a favor. Put the equivalent of like an iPhone screen right here. Smooth, intuitive, minimal feedback, and you don't have to click down as much. You have to like push down on the Lexus's pad. Just minimal click. That would be perfection. The screen could stay up high, far and back, eyes to the road. You can control everything with your hand. You don't have to reach for a touch screen. I don't think touch screens are convenient. They're a compromise. You have a big screen and two things happen. Either you have to take your eyes off the road to engage with the touch screen, or you have to reach for the touch screen. Now, I don't have as much of a problem with that because I'm so tall and my arms are freakishly long. But for normal sized people, some of the touch screens, like the one in the Telluride that we had a while back, it was kind of high and far, and I know that Mrs. Jax had a harder time reaching it than I did, whereas hand controls like we had in the RDX or this Lexus would have been much more convenient and safer. So basically, Lexus gets it right here in design, if not execution.
So aside from the price, what are the downsides of this Lexus SUV? I mean, $43,500 is a lot of money, but there have to be some other downsides. What are they? Well, for one, the cup holders are way too small. I like coffee and I drink it in a very large Yeti tumbler, and they were too small to fit my Yeti. And you might remember, I'm a teacher and I exist on pretty much 40% blood and plasma and 60% coffee and caffeine. And that's a deal breaker for me. I have to be able to fit an obnoxious amount of coffee in my daily life at all times. I mean, let's be honest, that's why we have a Suburban, right? You can put more coffee in it. And at more than $43,000, the UX lacks some features you'd expect at this price, namely the full suite of safety features, a surround view camera, and this particular model didn't even have a wireless charging pad, which, I mean, come on. But most of all, there's two alternative choices that buyers might consider that could be a lot better than the UX depending on their budget. The first is Toyota's own RAV4 Hybrid Premium model. The RAV4 Hybrid Premium is an excellent SUV, it's stylish, it's far bigger than the UX, it comes with as many or more options as the UX, and the only thing you're missing if you get the RAV4 Hybrid Premium model is the Lexus badge, which I don't know if it carries enough weight for that to be your choice, but the RAV4 Hybrid Premium is an excellent small SUV. The other elephant in the room, or micro SUV in the room, the other small elephant in the room, that would be the Mazda CX-30. The Mazda CX-30 is arguably far better looking than the UX, comes with as many or more features for $10,000 less. $10,000 less. And I mean, sure, you could argue that they're not playing in the same sandbox, but money is money. It doesn't matter what sandbox you're playing in, unless you're playing in a sandbox filled with money, but everyone wants to keep his or her own amount of money in the sandbox. And so it doesn't matter if the sandbox is filled with money. $10,000 is a lot of money in a different sandbox. I'm sorry, that metaphor got away really, really quickly, but you get what I'm saying about sandboxes and money. Sandboxes filled with money.
So where does that leave the littlest Lexus? Well, it's an excellent and well-built car with a fantastic ride and impressive fuel economy. It has a bit more of a premium feel than the competition from Mazda. It's not as ugly or overpriced as most of the German offerings. It occupies its own rationally enticing niche in the luxury landscape. A drive-in one might be enough to convince you that this is in fact something special.
So I hope you enjoyed this different take on the Lexus UX with the sort of variable filming locations. Having this sort of talking head space allows me to be a little bit more flexible, especially if the weather is garbage like you saw in the previous videos. So it kind of helps me out. If you like this format, leave a comment down below. I'll probably be using it a lot at the time I'm filming this because I'm gonna be trapped in the house for the next 2 to 3 weeks thanks to coronavirus. But I wanna use this space to my advantage as often as possible. I might move things around a little bit, and I definitely need to do something about this terrible echo. But other than that, this hopefully will become a regular feature on the channel. Thanks for tuning in as always. Let me know what you think. Also follow along on Instagram. I post a lot of car content and motorcycle stuff on Instagram, and what I'm currently filming or what I'm working on while I'm editing the stuff I filmed before, it's all on Instagram and Instagram stories. So consider joining on Instagram. You're probably looking at it right now here, or maybe it's over here. I'm not even sure which side I'm gonna put it on in the edit, but it's somewhere around here. As always, ride safe, drive safe. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace. The next video could be coming at you in like 5 or 10 minutes because what else do I have to do except sit here and film videos?